Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Energize Your Online Business podcast. Hello, ladies.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So glad to be here.
Yay. So as always, I'm joined by my fabulous co-host, Kate Sitars. Hello, Kate.
Hello.
And today we have the pleasure of being joined by a circuit sales system student and also a good friend of mine, Ms. Carina Gardner. Hey, Carina.
Hey, I am so glad to be here.
Hi, we're so excited to have you here. Now, I certainly know all about your business, and I'm always excited to hear more and more about it. But for those who don't yet know you, who are you and what is your business?
So I am a fabric designer. Fabric and paper designer is kind of how I niche myself down. I have a PhD in design, and I taught at the University of Minnesota before I started my design business. I've owned my design business for about 15 years. And 2 years ago, I started a program called Design Suite. And the reason was because I found that there are lots of programs out there teaching people how to learn how to design, and not a single one teaching people how to become profitable owning design businesses. And so we created this program just in total and complete need of the market. And it was because we realized that most designers aren't very profitable. They don't know how to make money. They're scared of sales. And so we created a program that kind of mixed what I knew as an academic, what I taught at a university level. So we have a lot of coursework combined with, I was the creative director of a scrapbooking company. So what I know about physical products and understanding the design manufacturing world, with also owning a digital business, which I'd been doing for 13 years at that time. And so we kind of took all of those things, married them together, and created something that was like going to get a bachelor's degree mixed with getting an MBA into a single program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's an amazing program. And I think the important thing, the important need, like you were saying, is teaching them to profit, because especially for designers, we have our other brand for copywriters, and it's that same kind of thing where you think that you can't make any money at it. You can't make any money as a writer. You can't make any money as a designer. You can follow your passion, but expect to not make any money. And I think from my perspective, what has been so transformative for your students is that not only are you empowering them, you're teaching them amazing design skills, but you're also giving them the exact steps to take to become very profitable with their businesses.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about our program and your program, because you and I we're both on like two sides of the same creative coin. And, the two of us like to talk about copywriting and design because people do believe that they can't make any money. And it's just nonsense. It's just a lie. It's just because they haven't been taught, and because there's so little information out there. There are plenty of designers making lots of money. You just don't know about them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So you started your program only 2 years ago, but boy, have you grown fast. You know that you have a ton of students and they are seeing a ton of success. How have you gone about selling it in the past, getting people enrolled in the program?
Yeah, we're only 2 years old. So that means that figuring out a sales system has been kind of like this daunting task. I think that's the only reason I didn't get started sooner, was because I knew sales systems for designers, but I didn't understand it really for business and what would work best for this program. So I started out, I have something called a design bootcamp, and it's my live launching method. And I do one about once a month at this time. Back then, not at this time, but back then I would do one once a month, and it would allow me to find people, the right people, so that we could filter through and make sure we were getting the correct people into the program. We're kind of unusual as programs go because we do filter the people coming in. A lot of people will just take anybody, but because we have a very important live component, and there's mentorship going on and weekly meetings and lots of community stuff. We do a live retreat every year. We actually really want to make sure that our membership is doing well and we can keep an eye on them. And so because of that boot camp has been really prominent for me to kind of figure out the right people to come in. So live launching every single month. It's pretty draining. And, it takes its toll on you after a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's as we always say, it's not just the being there on camera for a couple hours a day. It's all of the prep work. Even if it's something that you've done multiple times before, there's still the prep work. There's still the preparation. There's the actually doing the event, getting yourself ready for the event, the time that it takes away from actually working on your business, and then quite frankly, recovery time too, right? It's draining to be. It's exciting, but it's draining to be live.
Yeah, it's not exciting after 2 years, though. It's really actually not very exciting after 1 year. And you get really good at it. Like, I'm really good at teaching and design boot camps because I do think it's important. I like the information in it, but it for sure, like, it eats up a whole week. That's 25% of your month. That is a lot. And for me, I still believe in live launching. I think it's a great thing, but just figuring out a way, Nikki and I became friends. And when I found out about this, I was like, is there another way in order to really consider getting out of this so that I can teach people, but I can teach more people, right? There are only so many people I can teach in a live boot camp. It actually is a little bit restricting. And so when I found the circuit sales system, that was, for me, it was like a game changer. Like, there's got to be another way that's going to make it so that I can move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you can claw back some of that 25% of your time to actually be working on your business and expanding. And I know that your what you have put into your program has even expanded beyond that. It was already robust, and now it's even bigger and more exceptional. But so how did you go about implementing CSS? Because I know it's changed a little bit.
Yeah, it really actually has. And the way we do our boot camps has changed because of it. So I still keep a live component, and I do it not quite as often, but I have it in there. But we force everybody to go through our CSS system. And it has 100%, like, even if you are scared of getting rid of your live launch piece, I would say still bring in that CSS piece, because it made it so, we would have these deadlines on a boot camp where it was like, okay, or cart close. We don't even do that anymore. It's like, oh, you just sign up for CSS on Monday at the start of the bootcamp week, and your deadline is whatever it is through the CSS system. Mm-hmm. So because of that, it's actually made the live launching easier, which is so crazy. Like, because I know that, like, with CSS, it's like, you don't even have to live launch. For me, it's a kind of a safety net still. We're going to actually be getting rid of it at the time of this, we're actually in a price raise. So we are getting rid of our boot camps for a couple of months just so we can fully test out CSS. We haven't given it that chance. But instead, what we did was we gave it like 2 months, ran it. It did very, very well for us. And then we combined it with our live launches. And it's like, I mean, we're talking about our sales this year are up by 50%. And so it's huge. We always get CSS sales every single month without the boot camp. And then we see heightened sales during a boot camp for CSS. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's kind of like we've kind of married it. And that would be my suggestion for anybody who's using this system. Think about what you're currently doing and then do the steps. I did it exactly the way it's set up to make sure I had it correct. And then I tested it for a couple of months. It did very well. And then I was like, I wonder what would happen if we could do this little heightened piece. Mm-hmm. And it just, oh my gosh, the results have been insane. We actually, at the date of doing this, we just had our best week ever financially in sales, by a long shot. And a lot of that was due to CSS.
Absolutely. That's fantastic.
Congratulations.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And let me know if you are comfortable sharing this, but this will be a 7-figure year for you, right?
Oh, yes, easily. Yeah. So, and we're in that second, we just finished, we're a little bit off, but we're basically in 3rd year. And we actually are hoping to have a multiple 7-figure year. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Incredible. Well, and I love that you assessed what you wanted to still include in your program, that you customized it for yourself. And you know that we have the enhancements, and we do offer some suggestions about how to do live elements. And I love that you took that enhancement and combined it with something that you loved and that you knew your students loved. Because there are, we do have enhancements, like we will do info sessions or that kind of thing, because there just always are some purchasers that do want to see somebody live. Now, it's not nearly as much as people think it is, right? Everyone's like, well, everybody has to see me live. And that's not true. But there are some people that are just going to be that much more comfortable making the purchase if they have the opportunity to just see you face to face. And so I love that you've included that.
And really, it's not even really about live. I think it's just they need to see you more. Like for us, that's the thing we kind of figured out. We just have a longer CSS. So like we have an hour and a half, like more of a 90-minute CSS. So they spend more time with me. So that helps. And then for us, we have a high price product. We have a $15,000 product. And because of that, they do just need a little bit of nurturing. We still give them the price right up the get-go, but they need to know that we're really going to help them build a design business. And a lot of that just comes from more touch points, right? For these higher price programs. And if you're someone with a higher price program, you might find you need to put in a little bit. And that's why a bootcamp works for me. It's not actually the live for 5 days. It's just having 5 videos with me. And so we're kind of figuring that out, and we're going to kind of implement that a little bit into our CSS system as well.
I love that. That's great. Yeah. To your point, if someone needs to incorporate, if they feel strongly and they need sales calls to get people over, that's also something that can be added in. And I know that that's something you were kind of playing with for a little bit. You haven't ended up having to do that as much. But I just really impressed with how you have dug in and made it work for your business. Yeah.
I mean, the crazy thing is it's a great sales system if you already know who your people are, right? Like you have a good avatar, you have a great product, which is key. You want to make sure you have a great product. Then how would you not be able to do well on the system, right? It's a sales system. It's going to tell you exactly how to sell the thing that is already great. Very often when I'm running into people who are like, I mean, not in CSS, but trying to do other sales systems, they're like, I can't figure it out. And a lot of it's like, look at their product and I'm like, well, it's hard to sell your product, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, we talk a lot on this podcast about not wanting to be strapped to our desks and 24/7 in our businesses. How has CSS has it allowed you to maybe not be strapped to your desk 24 hours a day? Or how has it, allowed you to have more time back?
Yeah. So I'm actually, it has allowed me to have more time back. I will say I have taken that time and used it for other parts of my business because I am a growing business, right? Because we're such a young entity. My program's a young entity. My design business is old and lovely and just going. But like my program, because it's a newer entity, we are spending more time in it. But the beautiful thing is CSS has given us back so much time. Even the way we do those live launches has completely changed. So now my team isn't trying to follow up on people. They're not we don't have to turn off something. We don't have to turn on something. So there are all these little components that it hasn't just helped me, it's helped my entire team. So my whole team doesn't feel, boot camps used to be this very stressful affair. Like we were planning all month for it, making sure that it was going to go exactly as planned. We had an entire launch pad for how to get it done. It's now like 3 lines long. It's so easy. So bringing that CSS system in, it took away all the little nuances and all of the work. So instead, I just show up to my boot camp. I still teach the same thing, but I'm like, hey, if you want to purchase our program, just join right here. And they go right through the CSS system. So it's worked out really nicely for, in particular, my team. For me, I think it's really great because I understand where everybody is and I can see that. So I'm not chasing people down to figure out if they're really someone that wants to come into the program or someone that's really not going to be a great fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then I know as well that when you talk about bringing it into your business, you've had the time to expand a bit. You're moving into the short-term rental market and decorating for the, not really decorating, but using your pattern designs within your short-term rentals and kind of building an empire there. And you have that freedom, which we'll give everybody the links in the show notes. They can follow along and watch because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that almost would have been impossible without the CSS system, because I spent the entire month of March building out this short-term rental. So we bought our first property. It's going to be on YouTube. So if anybody wants to watch it, it'll be fun. It's youtube.com/Carina Gardner. And it's just fun. And we're showing people how we purchased the property and then how we're taking wallpaper designs, art designs, things that we actually sell as digital products as a design business, and showing them how we're using them. We're going from 2D to 3D. And so that has been such a fun project. And it took a lot of time. And by the time I was done, I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could say never again, but I just started this thing and we plan on doing 20 properties. So it's not never again. It's like all the time. So I got to figure out how to get even more time back. And actually, we're right in the middle of a revision of CSS. That's the other thing I would say to anybody who's coming into this program. It is such an easily like once you're guided through and you build it, which takes a little bit of time in order to get it right. But then once you get it done, now it's this easy thing where I come in and I kind of just change a few slides and I make some adjustments based on what's happening in the economy, based on what's happening. You can really kind of source it the way you want to. And so we're in the middle, actually today and tomorrow, of doing a retaping of sections of it so that when it goes out with the new pricing, that it's just super clean and ready to rock and roll. So that's what the other thing I like about it. It's not like I'm making up something new. I'm just cleaning it up and making adjustments.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm curious, has this implementing CSS allowed you to have more time to focus on your existing customers versus kind of putting so much attention on getting people into your programs?
Yeah, I actually think that's maybe the biggest thing that has happened, because one of the things that actually bothers me is, you see leadership or CEOs or salespeople, they spend most of their time on the front end trying to get people into the program. People who come into my program will tell you that they see me a lot. So they're in meetings with me. They're in meetings with my team. I'm doing Thursday trainings. We just barely, I had like a bonus Illustrator workshop day. So like by having the time, I get to focus on my actual design members, which that's the whole point of this for me, right? To get them successful. I'm only successful if they're successful. So I actually care much less about the people on the front end, because lots of them will not come into my program and they're not going to be successful and I can't help them. But everybody who comes into my program, I can help. And so as we are watching, and that's the other reason we're going to be spending a good portion of the summer just letting CSS run it. We're not doing any live events. We're not even, piggybacking on each other, is because I want to have the time. I'm building them all new coursework. They're getting really excited because they've been asking for new things. And so because of that, I'm going to be focusing on how do we make the program better, which is really what we're always doing, is making the program better.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Because I think that's true for most business owners, right? Is that we want our clients to be successful. We are successful when they are successful. So I think that's beautifully put. Yeah. So, Carina, if people are listening to this and they're like, "Ooh, actually, I want to know more about her, or I want to follow along, or maybe I want to stay at one of her short-term rental properties," what are the best ways to find you?
Maybe come visit me on Instagram. That's at Carina Gardner, Carina. If you are interested in my program, or of someone, very often I'll have people listen to this like, oh, my daughter is in college and she wants to be a graphic designer. And I just lectured at a university and taught their faculty some of the things I teach so they could teach that to their students. And we're kind of working on figuring out ways to get students into a place in art departments. We are struggling. Art departments across the United States, you guys. It is such a real thing that I'm really fighting and struggling with right now to get them profitable. So if you want it, it's almost like if you know of someone, send them over to carinagardner.com and you can come check out what courses I have. I usually have a few little courses, maybe a boot camp, or do the free CSS training, which is called How to Become a Money-Making Designer, and just come and enjoy that. It's a 90-minute presentation that will tell you 3 secrets about the design industry that you just didn't have any idea about. Mm-hmm. So you can come do that. And then last but not least is I actually have a podcast, totally free, Make and Design with Carina Gardner. And we talk about a lot of design.
But not last, because you also...
Oh, that's right.
Nikki
showed my book. So my book came out just 2 months ago. It's called Design, Profit, and Prosper. It's available on Amazon. It's full color. I recommend the hard copy if you want a really nice version of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For those of you listening, head over to YouTube because you can see the cover that Nikki showed, which is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Exactly. And then you can go follow us and follow Carina on YouTube as well. Yeah. Yes. But this, I can't recommend following your stuff. Quite frankly, first, if people are interested in design, but also just following your journey as a business owner is very inspirational, very empowering. And I know that people are getting just a little touch of that today. But I would strongly recommend people just follow you in general, because you're an amazing person and you are an amazing designer and an amazing business owner. And it's going to be so exciting just to see how your business evolves and grows in all kinds of new ways over the next several years. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Nikki. I do think I love being any kind of inspiration for those of you who are practitioners and want to turn it into something else where you're teaching it. I never really thought I would build a teaching program because I was making so much money as a practitioner, as a designer. But I just think there's a lot of power to being a creative and figuring out more ways that you can bring in income.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree. Wow, Carina, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. We really appreciate it. And again, we can't wait to see where everything goes. And so with that, we will catch you all in the next episode. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Do you want to learn how to sell and scale your offer on autopilot every single day without the chaos of live launching or the low conversions of Evergreen? Who doesn't, right? Get our free on-demand video training at circuitsalessystem.com/free. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to make sure you never miss a video. We'll catch you next time.